Hello there and welcome to the Mayor's Magazine. I'm Mick Cornett, the Mayor of Oklahoma City. Glad you're with us. This is our show for November 2013. We start today's show with a visit from Dwight Scott, who is the Outgoing Zoo Director. Dwight, welcome to the Mayor's Magazine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back.
A little bit of a somber tone here. You've been with us for 5 years, but you have been offered an incredible job with perhaps the top zoo in the United States, and that's the San Diego Zoo. And so you'll be moving in a similar role, but a much larger role. And I don't think anyone could blame you for taking that on. That's quite an offer.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been telling everyone it's with mixed emotions. We have a great zoo and a great city, and I'm certainly excited to go to San Diego and take over the directorship role, but I'll miss a lot of people here.
Well, let's talk about these last 5 years and how the Oklahoma City Zoo has grown during your tenure.
Well, when I started, we opened a children's zoo, and I joke with people that interactive stream that runs through the middle of that exhibit, that is an attraction in itself. Everyone loves the exhibit. Of course, we had the elephant exhibit open the following year, and then a few months after that, we had the birth of Mei Li, the first elephant ever born at our zoo. I've really had a strong focus on our conservation work. It's really something that's very important to us, that we not only take great care of the animals at the zoo, but do our part to help protect them in the wild as well. So we've had a good run, but I have a great team. It's not me, it's not it's what we've done together.
And it's an especially exciting time right now because of, I guess, amongst the things that are exciting, we have a brand new baby giraffe, and the baby elephant that you mentioned is going to have a sister or a brother.
Or a brother.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Brother or sister.
Yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the baby giraffe first. I went out. My first look at her was when she was 9 days old, and she was already 6'3". And so, a reminder of how these animals, because typically they're born in the wild, they have to adapt very, very quickly for preservation of their own species.
Yeah, sure. They can typically stand within a couple hours and walk and run pretty quickly as well. But yeah, you're right. They're born about 6 feet tall. Her dad's about 18 feet tall. And like I said, we could sign a whole roster up for the Thunder team here in Oklahoma City for sure.
Really big eyes, and you can see, just taking it in. In some ways, you see the manners of an infant, but in obviously in size and in a lot of other contexts, just a giant animal, and kind of anxious to take its place in the animal kingdom.
Absolutely, big but very delicate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very delicate, and they are. We have a tremendous staff there at the zoo. They're very dedicated to the animals. They do everything they can do to take great care of the animal, and of course, Mom does her part as well. She's a great mother.
When we opened the elephant exhibit, it was, it's probably not overstated to call it kind of the Taj Mahal of elephant exhibits. And it was at the time communicated that we'll be trying to populate it. Yeah. And we've already had one baby come on board. And now the word is that one of the female elephants is pregnant.
Yeah, that's right. I remember several years ago at the State of the City when you showed the elephant birth, and there was, several thousand people in the room, and it was so quiet when you showed the video of the birth. Quite impactful. Everyone still remembers it today, and hopefully we'll give you another opportunity.
That would be wonderful. And talk about the gestation period of an elephant.
22 months gestation. So we have our fingers crossed that Mei Li will have a younger sibling December of next year or January of 2015.
So she's 6-7 months along now?
Yes, that's right.
And Mei Li is how old now? A couple of years?
Yes, yeah, 2.5, over 2,000 pounds. She's growing. Beautiful animal. We're thrilled to have her.
Yeah. And I've talked a lot about the animals that have recently had babies. What else should people be inspired to attend the zoo and see? I know the Stingray exhibit is up and running.
Oh, we opened the Stingray Bay interactive exhibit in July. The stingrays will leave our facility this fall, probably the 1st of November, and then they'll be back in the spring. That's a very interactive exhibit. You can put your hands in the water with the stingrays. You can feed them if you choose to do so. And then, of course, next year we have the Joan Kirkpatrick Animal Veterinary Hospital opening as well. And that'll be unique because a part of it will be open to guests. So guests will be able to come into the hospital and look through glass at procedures occurring. You'll be able to see our vets working with some of our animals. You'll be able to see into our lab. You'll be able to see our commissary where all of our animal diets are prepared daily. It's going to be very interactive.
Where are the growth areas in the upcoming years, the capital investments, and which type of improvements do you think we'll see in the next few years?
Well, we recently did a master plan, 2011, and we designed that master plan around our biggest needs. So now that we have the elephants out of the pachyderm building, we really need to move our rhinos out. That's our next step. When the rhino building is demoed and we build a new facility there, that will allow us to move our giraffes from their current barn. I know you were there recently to see some of the barn. A lot of our facilities were state-of-the-art at the time they were built, but no longer the case. So we really need to continue to develop and grow our zoo. Our herpetarium, I love telling the story about the herpetarium. That was actually a picnic shelter in the 30s. And they started putting walls on it and forming it into a building. And so it's in desperate need as well. And then finally, the Noble Aquatic Center needs an extreme renovation, and that will complete our next 10 years of growth at the zoo.
How many years has the zoo been on that location?
It moved in 42, I believe. Yeah. It was in Wheeler Park, but due to extensive flooding, they moved out to the Lincoln Park location.
Okay. And
I'm sorry, 37. Yeah, right before the shelter was built.
okay. And attendance has been growing and growing ever since.
Yeah, we've been fortunate. We have incredible community support, as you know, and most of the time when we talk about support, we refer to the 1/8 of a cent sales tax, which is incredible. We've really allowed us to become one of the best zoos in the country, but it goes way beyond that. Our attendance shows incredible interest and support in the zoo. The last 3 years, we've been over 900,000 in our annual attendance. All 3 have been record years.
And so we're headed at some point in the future to a million people in a single year.
Absolutely, that's what we're pushing for. Which, when you compare that to our metro area of 1.2, that's a really, really strong rate of saturation in your community and speaks highly of our community.
Well, Dwight, on behalf of the citizens of Oklahoma City, thank you for the 5 years of service you've given us at the zoo. We're extremely proud of the growth that's taken place over the last 5 years. And we hope you're not a stranger. We know you're moving on to San Diego, but we hope you'll come back and visit us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for all your leadership within the city. It's been great working with you.
All right, Dwight Scott, the outgoing zoo director at the Oklahoma City Zoo. We'll have more in the Mayor's Magazine right after this.
You know, I give, and it's just never enough.
Seriously?
When people take you for granted, what can you do?
Water the grass, not the street.
Using drought-tolerant plants, watering early in the morning, adding some mulch, it's not that hard. If we want to use our water wisely, we got to squeeze more out of every drop.
SqueezeEveryDrop.com. Oh, I gotta go. I got a date with a lake.
I'm Lee Criswell with Street Maintenance. Help us while we repair your city streets. Please slow down and be alert in all work zones.
We're back on the Mayor's Magazine. Lauren Branch is our guest in this segment. She's with NewView Oklahoma and represents the CEO position in that capacity. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me here.
I can't believe we were discussing off camera that you and I have known each other for 15 years when you were fairly new on the job, but the mission of your organization has, well, the results of the mission have just increased so much.
Yeah, they have. I mean, I think we were talking, we met in 1995 during the 50th anniversary. You came out and did some work for us and some video, and at that time we were really just doing employment for a relatively small number of people, about 40 employees, and we've got about 150 now. We weren't providing rehabilitation services, which we're doing now. We've opened a low vision clinic, so the scope of our organization has changed tremendously.
The mission, vaguely described as to empower people who are blind and visually impaired to achieve their maximum level of independence through employment, rehabilitation, and community outreach. That's a lofty goal, but you all have succeeded on so many different counts.
Yeah, you know, our organization really is all about empowerment. I mean, in the programs and services that we provide. So, you know, when a person's visually impaired, I mean, probably the biggest goal is to remain independent, you know, or to be able to have the tools and the resources to be productive and independent. So, you know, when we talk about empowering all people who are blind or visually impaired, I mean, we start with children. You know, we serve birth to death, and so we get children, you know, through early intervention. We get school-age children in our public school systems. We work with transitional kids, you know, high school to college or high school to work, working-age adults and older blind, and really try to impact them at the place that they are at that moment. So, you know, set the goals to get them to the next place, and then a lot of times, I mean, you know, from there, when they start achieving those goals, then you know, it just expands, and so we're able to meet them where they are and take them where they want to go.
Do employers contact your organization with opportunities and say, you know, I have a few job openings and I was thinking that perhaps some of the people that have been through your programming could fill these roles?
Yeah, I wish we had more of that. I mean, unfortunately, you know, even with ADA, and I think that we're probably 23 years into the implementation of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the unemployment rate amongst blind and visually impaired people has been impacted zero. So, you know, here in Oklahoma City, where our unemployment rate has been hanging, you know, 4.5%, which is really good, especially compared to the nation, the unemployment rate amongst people who are blind or visually impaired is over 70%, and the needle hasn't moved. And so we do bring people in all the time and want to educate them about the capabilities of people with vision impairments. We can help them do job assessments and get people integrated, but I think there's still a lot of barriers to employment because there's still a perception out there that, you know, blind and visually impaired people can't work.
And there's
that's
transportation issues.
and
to address,
transportation issues. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, we try to work around that, but, you know, in a place like Oklahoma City, you know, we're pretty limited on public transit, and we're really, really big. And so, you know, for people in our agency, you know, when we provide direct jobs, direct employment, people are pretty limited where they can live and how they get to work. So that's always going to be a barrier, I think.
Well, discuss the jobs that you actually have at NewView.
Well, we're excited because we've really changed our focus over the last probably 10 years into higher tech kind of jobs. But for example, we're the sole supplier of fire hoses for the U.S. Forestry Service. We manufacture all of the aircraft wheel chocks for Department of Defense. We do precision machining now, so we've actually partnered with our career techs here locally to develop training programs to train blind people to operate CNC equipment. We do vinyl conversion. We also operate call centers and switchboards. We've got the adaptive technology to be able to employ a totally blind person, you know, in those types of positions. We do warehousing and logistics for the military. We do mailroom services for the military and for the Internal Revenue Service. So just a wide range of jobs. Plus, we've been able to promote people through our upward mobility programs into supervisory and management positions, and even into my senior management staff.
Right. How do you deal with the person who might be exposed to your offerings because they are going blind? Perhaps they still have some level of vision at this point, but they know there's going to be a point where they don't.
Yeah, well, what we recommend is contact us sooner rather than later because, you know, when you're starting to go blind, there are things that we can do early on to start training you in adaptive technology and adaptive techniques so that you can stay in your job. I mean, that's goal number one. We're really excited about our new low vision clinic and vision rehabilitation services because through that program we can really assess the individual and what usable vision they have left, and then we work with the doctor and our occupational therapy staff to develop an individualized plan to give them the tools that they need to continue doing the things that they want to do. And most vision loss, unfortunately, is progressive. And so, you know, as that vision loss progresses, then we continue to work with those individuals. It's really important for us, too, if a person's losing their vision and they still want to work, for us to be working with them and their employers to be able to get them what they need in the workplace. And for their employers to understand that just because they're losing their vision doesn't mean that they need to lose their job, that they're still entirely capable and able to do the job in most instances.
Do most states have some organizations similar to what you all do?
Yeah, most states do, and some states have multiple organizations. You know, here in Oklahoma, we are the only one, but I think that there are about 90 other agencies across the country that specifically work to serve people with vision impairments in the employment arena. And then there are others that do things, you know, like we do, like vision rehabilitation and educational services and things like that.
And how many locations in Oklahoma?
We are the only agency in the state. We have one bricks and mortar. Well, we actually have two locations here in Oklahoma City. Our low vision clinic, which is on the north side of town on Wilshire, and our main manufacturing facility, which is just west of downtown. I have employees itinerant staff across the state so that we can actually provide services outside of the metro area. We are opening a new location in Tulsa in January of 2014, so we're very excited about that.
Exciting times. If there are people out there that want to help, maybe they're an employer, maybe they're a philanthropist, what should they do?
Call us.
Okay.
We're here in Oklahoma City. Our number is 405-232-4644. You can reach us on our website at newviewoklahoma.org. We would love to hear from you. Volunteers, funders, employers, and if you're visually impaired or know somebody who's visually impaired who's not receiving services, please give us a call.
All right. Lauren Branch is the CEO and president at NewView Oklahoma. Thanks for coming on the Mayor's Magazine.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. More
to come. Next segment, we're going to be out at Crystal Lake. It's an episode I think you're really going to want to see, so stay with us.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
And again, I'm Mick Cornett, and I'm with Larry Bross of City Care, but most importantly has been one of many that has been instrumental in turning Crystal Lake into something that the entire city of Oklahoma City can be proud of. Larry, thank you for all your work out here.
You're welcome. It's just an opportunity that we saw, and we took advantage of it.
We're very near I-40 in MacArthur, but I think a lot of people in the area are familiar with Crystal Lake. Many are not, but the improvements that have been made out here are just almost mind-boggling. If you had been here a year before, and to see what you and the Shine program and a lot of others have been able to perform out here, it's just short of a miracle.
Well, we're very proud of all the help that we've been able to have to clean up the lake, but we've been coming out here for about 9 years to Crystal Lake with our Whiz kids at the end of the year, our Whiz kids tutoring program. And over the years, we've noticed that, you know, there started to be a lot of dumping and things it's just happened because it was unattended. So we just went to the city and said, could we lease the facility, you know, from the city? And they said, take it and run with it. And we were able to get a grant from the Sarkees Foundation for a new pavilion and a new restroom out here. We have a full-time employee of ours that's security here day and night. And we open the doors or the gate at sun up and close them at sundown.
And tell me about if the general public comes out here, there are fishing opportunities. What other recreational activities are available?
Well, the whole lake is free to the public. It's a city-owned lake, of course, and we're close to home waters, and the River Trust is who we answer to. Actually, it's just you have to have a close-to-home fishing license and a state fishing license. The Wildlife Department keeps it stocked. A lot of fish in the lake. And one of the things that we found is that people can come out, enjoy picnicking. Camping is something that we're working on right now with City Council. We're hoping to open that up soon to the scouting groups and stuff like that. But we want to keep Crystal Lake as outdoor educational, not necessarily recreational, other than fishing. We have a first-class archery course, the archery tower, and a static course for the kids. I didn't realize archery's in 400 schools in Oklahoma. We want to keep it outdoor educational where kids can come from not just the inner city, but all over the city and all over the state can come and experience nature, learn identification of birds and trees and wildlife, and see what's going on just 15 minutes from the inner city of Oklahoma City.
Whiz Kids is a wonderful organization. Talk about the work that you do during the school year to help improve these kids' chance to keep up with the rest of the world.
Well, 19 years ago, we found out that 74% of our inner city elementary kids in our elementary Title I schools, that's all but 2, are reading below proficiency. So we found a program that utilizes the faith community to work with inner city kids and on reading. Because if a kid can't read, you know, their chances of succeeding are slim. So we have, at the present time, we have 800 tutors and 1,400 volunteers working with 26 schools on these kids one-on-one on reading. And this is our 19th year.
And you're using this as a summer program.
Summer program out here, and the fall we got the kids. The tutors don't have them in the fall. Some of them do. We'll bring them out here at the lake. This is our 2nd year for a summer program that we've had out here, and it's been very successful.
Talk about the relationship with the Shine program.
Well, we picked up, I say we, the Shine people picked up 2,200 tires. That's just a start.
And that was part of the cleanup effort for the environmental issue that, that was
Yes,
existing out here. And it was basically illegal dumping that had taken place through the years.
And shingles, three dump truck loads of shingles. And just there's a hot tub that somebody had gotten rid of out here. But there's all kinds of stuff like that the Shine Group and Brian Maughan, District 2 County Commissioner, came out and did a wonderful job. And now then it's just up to keep it up and keep it looking nice.
What can people in Oklahoma City do if they want to be a part of the Whiz Kids program or other volunteer efforts that you're involved with at City Care? What can people do to help Larry Bross?
Well, City Care is always looking for churches to volunteer to tutor inner city kids. That's always our mission. But if they'd like to come out to Crystal Lake, our opportunity and deal with the city is that we can take and shut the part of the lake or all of the lake for an event. For churches, for civic groups, for any kind of group that wants to have an event out at Crystal Lake for a very small fee, which helps us keep the lake going, keeps it clean, they can come out and enjoy the pavilion and the lake and the fishing and the boating if they want to boat, and that is open to the public. We're trying to make that where more people understand that.
Well, Larry, you've taken a part of the city that we were trying to figure out how to fix and fixed it for us. So thank you very much.
Don't forget, Maps 3 is going to come right through this property right here, so it'll be a wonderful connection of the trail system from the river coming west here to Crystal Lake. A wonderful opportunity and experience for the people of Oklahoma City.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the key components of Maps 3 is the sidewalks. I mean, the sidewalk and trails. And you're talking about the trail system that's going to connect the river all the way to Lake Overholser,
Correct.
which is already connected with Lake Hefner.
Correct.
So you'll have an unimpeded track from Lake Hefner all the way down to the Oklahoma River, and it's going to come right by Crystal Lake. And I know you've been very involved in that. Larry, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mick.
All right,
Appreciate
we'll have
it.
more on the Mayor's Magazine when we return.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. In this last segment, we're going to visit with Lee Symcox, who's the CEO of First Fidelity Bank. Lee, welcome to the Mayor's Magazine.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Well, we could have you on in that capacity alone, but the reason for your visit is that you've recently been appointed, and this is a fairly lengthy organization, so I'm going to refer to my notes. You recently appointed to the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City's Community Depository Institutions Advisory Council, which really allows you and other Oklahomans to have kind of direct access to the Fed and its behavior.
That's correct. And actually, there's 12 of us from the different states that are within the Kansas City Fed District. So there's 2 representatives from Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And the purpose is, as you said, really to let us as bankers give the Fed direct input on the economy, other things like regulation, examinations, different things within the banking industry as well as the economy. And
the economies are cyclical, but it seems like we're doing pretty well in Oklahoma, especially compared to the rest of the country. Oh, no question. We're very fortunate to be in Oklahoma. Our economy is doing well. But what is very interesting in serving on this board is even within the Kansas City Fed District, you can see a wide variation, and there is a lot of other areas that are not doing as well. And that experience has given me a much bigger appreciation of how well our economy is and how fortunate we are. The banking industry went through a tumultuous time in the 1980s. Over 100 banks closed throughout the state. Out of that came what appears to me to be a fairly conservative nature of banking practices, and perhaps we benefited from that here in these best of times.
You're exactly right as far as the benefit, as far as the conservative nature. I think it's a matter of just sticking to good, sound banking principles. And we fortunately had a pretty good memory. And both, I tell you, the bankers as well as the people in the oil and gas industry, and then just general population. And after going through that, we decided we didn't want to do that again. And it has really, I believe, made a difference as we went into this national recession that we've had. And I think that really has benefited us.
You see some people right now with a hesitancy to invest their money in the stock market. They look at banks and they think, well, the interest rates may not be what they used to be, but it's safer and I feel more comfortable now. And so you must deal with that in small scenarios and big scenarios on a daily basis.
Oh, exactly. And we've had a tremendous influx at our bank as well as industry-wide of funds with no place to put it. And it's just a matter of nobody is wanting to step out and take the risk because of the uncertainty that's out there in the economy. And we really need to see that the banks are ready to lend. We've got plenty of money. But again, we've got to have people that want to borrow it to put it out there.
There was such a real estate calamity in 2008, 2009 across the country. Oklahomans were impacted by that, but not nearly as severely as a lot of other markets.
Oh, clearly, yeah. We were very fortunate, and again, I think part of that was, the sticking to the basic banking principles and not going out and on a limb as far as higher loan-to-value ratios and things like that. But in the long run, we can see that really paid off because there were possibly people that could have leveraged their properties more, but they put them at higher risk.
For a long, long time, one of the issues Oklahoma City had with growth was a lack of an access to capital. But now it does appear that there's money coming in from investors in other parts of the country who are looking around, looking for good investment dollars, and they think Oklahoma City is a good place to invest. How can you validate that a lot of that is taking place?
That is. Again, there's just a chase for return. And so we have seen some very specific examples is the sales of apartment complexes in the metro area. We've had some very large sales, and most of those, if not all of them, have been from out-of-state buyers. And so it's brought a lot of capital into our economy.
Mm-hmm. Typically, you see people going to borrow money for a house. What's appropriate today? 10% down, 20% down? Where does the bank start feeling comfortable based on what's happened in 2008, 2009?
Well, that's a real good question, and you can still, there are different ways to get a home loan. There are still FHA programs that will allow you to put as little as 5%. Actually, there's probably programs for new home buyers that less than that. But again, from a safety and soundness basis, 20% is the standard, and then again, there are ways to put less down, but that's pretty much a standard for a bank loan.
What input are you now providing the region office in Kansas City about Oklahoma's banking environment?
Well, our banking environment is very strong, and we're, again, very fortunate that we have weathered this economic downturn like we have. The biggest challenge we have right now is regulatory, and that is the burden of the regulations. And what that is doing is keeping us from making those home loans to those people. It's really getting in the way, and it's putting some of the smaller banks at risk. And as far as the state of Oklahoma, those local community banks are the key to a lot of those communities, and they are having a very difficult time coping with the regulation.
Lee Symcox is the CEO of First Fidelity Bank in Oklahoma City. Thanks, Lee.
My pleasure.
And
Thank
congratulations to this post with the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City.
Appreciate it. That's
going to do it for this edition of the Mayor's Magazine. We're glad you joined us. We'll be back here next month with the December show. We'll see you then.